Hey guys, it's Amy with Aim to Plan, and I am back with another budget video. So this video is all about my monthly budget, and just so you know, I get paid once a month at the beginning of the month. And so at the very beginning of the month, I basically go through and do the breakdown of all of my bills, all of my cash envelopes, all of my long-term sinking funds, so that way I'll know how much cash to pull and just have kind of a breakdown for the entire month. Also, if you've been following along with my budget journey, one of the things that you'll know is that I do roll over all of my money from month to month. And at the very end of the year, after a 12-month period, that's when I'll go back and make like really larger like pull downs of all those remaining cash envelopes, like all the remaining money in cash envelopes, and recalculate and reset all of my budgets. But from month to month, I actually roll over all the dollar amounts. I don't actually pull any of that money out. And you'll see why that is as we go through this budget. So as we go through this, I just wanted to let you know that this is actually a part of the Happy Planner extension pack. It is one of the sheets from the budget section of the household extension pack. I'll try to link it so that way you can have it. And what we're gonna do is just kind of fill this out. I am using a Sharpie marker because this is laminated. I decided to go ahead and laminate it so that way I can use it over and over again rather than like trying to replace this sheet all the time. And then right before I get jumping into like writing out some of the numbers, I'm pretty sure you can hear my lawn care guys mowing the lawn. The grass has been like popping up like weeds, and so we're cutting the grass constantly, I feel like. Anyway, they're here cutting the grass. And so if you hear that, it just pretend it's nice background noise rather than something that's disturbing the video. I just have no other time to record, unfortunately. So let's just jump right into it. So the very first thing that the household this extension pack has is like this main income section. And so for me, this is the month of July. Let me go ahead and put that. One of the things that's missing is like a line to put which month it is. Okay, so it's July 2021. And my main income is actually going to be, I think, right at 2,900. I do have variable income in the sense of like from month to month it changes a little bit slightly. It stays the same every semester, but in July I'll be getting a drawdown of some money, and it actually should be a higher amount, but I don't actually know. So I'm just gonna project or budget for $2,900, and then I always have a $200 income for extra income, and that's for me like destashing. Like just planner supplies. Again, if you've been following along on my budget journey, one of the things that you'll know is I have a no spend category for planners. And what I do is for planners, if I want to buy a new planner or like buy planner supplies, I have to first earn $200 from selling off planner supplies, and then at any additional money over the $200 I can then spend towards new planner stuff. And so that's the $200 there. So that will then leave $3,100 for total income. I'll leave this section obviously for the end of the month, so I can put down my actual totals and the difference here. And again, I'm pretty sure there will be a large difference because I'm pretty sure my main income for my job is going to be higher than that dollar amount. Okay, so let's just jump down here. One of the things about this month at a glance is that I don't use all of these sections, but I just try to fill in things as I need to. A lot of it I'll just be writing in. The first thing here is mortgage. Mortgage for July is going to be $1,200. We did actually just like basically refinanced, and so it went up in price. Our phone is a combination of it's actually a combination of phone and cable, but since it's listed here two separate times, what I'm going to do is go ahead and split it up. So phone is 100 and then cable is 60, but it's one combined bill for 160. Electricity, gas, and water. These three I budget like way over the amount that I need to. And what I put for all three of that is a total of $315, but I definitely don't need that amount. But I just kind of like kind of guesstimate here. So for electricity, I'm just gonna put 115. Gas, which is never $100, it's more in like the $15 range, I put $100. And then for water and sewage, again, it's never $100, it's more in like the 50-60 range, but I put 100 there. All right, and again, I'll leave this section so that way I can put the total at the end. There are a couple of sections here that I do add. So maintenance, I'll leave as maintenance. You can hear my lawn care service, right? And so that's out there. But I don't like to call it maintenance. So there are a couple of maintenance type things that we do. So like the first thing I'll put here is in terms of maintenance is going to be our security. We have ADT, and that's $73 every month. Then we also have like pest control. It's our bug guy that's coming in. And he actually just told us his price is going up, so it's we need to actually increase this. But for the time being, I'm gonna leave it the same dollar amount that I've had from previous months, and that's 135. That should say 35. It looks like 85. Let me just fix that. 135. All right, and then we do have the lawn care service, and I budget for that every month, $45 a month. Okay, and we might have to pay a little bit extra in July just because I mean, again, like the grass is growing quite a bit, so we might have to get that service like every week, but it has been like every other week. So, all right, that's there. Now for transportation, I really only have two areas that I kind of budget for transportation. Oh, like I guess before I jump down into this, all of these up here, yeah, all of these up here are auto pay. All right, and so these are things that I do budget for just so I have an idea, but at least these they all are auto paid. They all are just pulled straight from our checking account, so I don't ever use cash envelopes for these things. These others, all of these others are like where I actually pull cash out and put them either into like regular cash envelopes, like my daily, weekly cash envelopes, or into my long-term sinking fund cash envelopes. So here then is transportation. For transportation, I don't use any of these other things. I actually don't know the difference between fuel and gas. So I don't know the difference. So I only use two categories. The first one is maintenance. And so maintenance is going to be basically like oil changes, tire changes, also like saving up for my registration and car tags. And so this car maintenance fee, all right, it gets $75 every month, right? And then gas, I talked about in my previous video, this is actually going up in dollar amount. It needs to be at, okay, sorry, I just got distracted. Okay, so this gas is going up in price. It was 60 and now it's going up to 75, right? So that's there. Right, next is insurance. All of our insurance is paid before we even see our paycheck. And so like home, health, life, and car are all paid. Either my husband pays it, and so I don't actually calculate that into our budget, just because that's like we hold separate accounts where we pay for some things. Like for example, I pay for the health insurance from my account, but that all gets like deducted prior to like money going into the joint account for budgeting purposes. And so this whole section we just don't use, right? Next section is food. Now food here, I don't split out into like groceries and dining out. I basically only use the one category of food, and I'll just put it with groceries. It doesn't really matter which one because I use food as both groceries and eating out, and that gets $200 each month. All right, and then for children, the two big things here are going to be related to like school tuition or school supplies, like school related things, and then her allowance, Sophia's allowance. So what happened for the summer months is that she has not been in school, and so we have been saving up for school tuition, but one of the things that we found out in June is that if we pay before August, we'll be able to get a discount, like a 10% discount on the like yearly tuition. And so we're going to go ahead and pay out all of it. We're going to pull savings to do that. And so I just mentioned that there are two categories, but basically what we need to do now is reduce the amount that was in there because we were saving like $400 each month for tuition. We don't need to save quite that much anymore because we're just going to pay it upfront out of savings. And what we're going to do instead is reduce that dollar amount to something that's a little bit more manageable for school supplies, for like, like snacks at school, for like any kind of after school care and that kind of thing. And so we're going to reduce this amount for just like school related stuff, and I'm going to put it here with dues and fees to $200 a month. And again, she's not in school right now. She won't start back until August. And so this money might change a little bit and fluctuate up and down while we kind of get settled into what her new school will be like, and what she will need monthly for school. The other big thing here, as I mentioned, and this dues and fees covers everything that's kind of on this list, like school clothing, school to any tuition stuff that we didn't pay from the yearly tuition, school supplies, lunch money, all that type of stuff, child care too, like after school care. The one thing that she gets a separate dollar amount for is going to be like this toys and games, and so that's basically her allowance, and I'll put that here. And she gets $20 a month from me. She gets a separate amount, like basically her dad just spends whatever he wants to when he wants to on her, but I give her a very fixed, like, here's $20 you can spend for the month, and so she gets $20 from me for that. And so that's it for children. Taxes, again, like we pay this out of our separate accounts, and so it doesn't go into the budget. A lot of that we do have separate savings for, and I guess if you want to see me do a video on like the separate savings here, just let me know, because I would be happy to do that. I don't know if I can talk you through some of those numbers because I'm kind of bad at numbers, but it is something that I can kind of talk to you about. All right, so here for personal care, the main thing here is going to be, I'm just going to call it like health. It is basically like personal, but this health category, the lawn care service is so loud. Can you actually hear that? I think you can. All right, so health gets $10 a month. So again, that's one of the cash envelopes that I've had in my rotation for the last couple of months, and that's been working out. Entertainment, I have my music, and this is buying sheet music for my choirs. That gets $10 a month. Again, loans, we actually are debt free. We have no loans right now besides our mortgage, and so we don't use this area. Same for savings that I've talked about previously. We have a whole separate system that gets pulled out from our separate accounts for this, and so it doesn't go into our joint budgeting here. And then I have a couple of categories that didn't fit anywhere else. So let me go ahead and look at some of these. So the first one here is education, and I'm just looking at them randomly. So education is one of my long-term sinking funds. Here for education, I'm going to be setting aside $30 a month. All right. Then next I have home, and this is just like home goods, like home supplies, knickknacks for the home, that kind of thing. I should also mention too, like groceries right here covers all of the household supplies like toilet paper and things like that, right? So that goes into groceries for me. Here for home, it's like all the stuff that is like decor type stuff, okay? And so home gets $15 a month. And then a couple more categories. The next one is gifts. Gifts is like birthdays, holidays of any sort, and then saving for like a Christmas fund. That gets $100 a month, right? And then the last one is going to be travel, right? So travel gets $105 a month, which is a weird dollar amount, I know, but anyway, it's $105. And then I'm noticing that I forgot one that goes here, and that's going to be online services. Like I have my like Google Play, my Dropbox, and that kind of stuff, and so I put in here it's going to be $12 a month. Okay, so let's do some math. Okay, brought out my super cheap Dollar Tree calculator here. All right, so I'm going to total up each of these into its subtotal sections. So 1200, 100, 115, and then 100, 200, another 100, sorry, 60, 12, 135, and then 45, and that'll be 1867. Right, then here for transportation is 150. I can do that in my head, right? And then 200, I'm just transferring down. Here is 220. Again, this is just transferring down. 10, 10, and then here is 30, 15, 100, and then 105, which is 250. And then I'll add all of these expenses together. That's 250. I'll just leave that there. 10, another 10, 220, 200, 150, and then 1867, which equals 2707. Okay, so 2707 goes here. I don't know if you can see that. It does say like actual income and then total expenses here. And there is like, these are the three columns. So here's the projected, here's the actual, and this is third column is for the difference, right? So then I'm bringing down this total right here, 3100. Right, so I will minus that from the 2707, which leaves us with a positive 393. Now this is one of the reasons why I don't worry so much about, like, for example, paying for Sophea's like tuition like right out of hand. We do every month. I don't operate on a zero-based budget. I do try to like have a very large margin between my budget and my income. And so 393 is fairly small in terms of margin. I try to get it to be closer to $500, and a lot of that comes into like I under project for my income and I over project for my budget. So by the end of the month, I'll actually have a larger buffer that just stays in my bank account. And so as you can kind of hear here, my income is under, my budget is over, and then hopefully that kind of like creates the margin to be a little bit bigger at the end of the day, at the end of the month. And so I build up a nice cushion that way. And so that's kind of how I've been operating in terms of doing my budget. It's been really helpful for me to, one, have physical cash to, especially for these like kind of like more fluid categories, but then also just to overestimate. That way I don't get caught in a bind for like finding out that we can pay, all of her tuition, which is like $4,500. Like if we pay it up front, we can save $500. And like, so we need to find $4,000 in cash right away. We have that money. It's in our bank account. We just don't look at it and don't use it. Okay, so that's my budget for July. Hopefully that all made sense. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to my channel. And until the next video, bye guys.